We are just about to get started. This is our Libraries Build Business community discussion. These are informal peer-to-peer monthly discussions. We usually host a guest presenter or facilitator. If you are interested in doing that down the road, please let me know. We'd love to hear what you're working on at your library, anything cool that you've got going on or that you're thinking about. It would be awesome to hear from you. And this is really informal, so it doesn't have to be a big, scary presentation, but just a conversation. So let me know if that's interesting to you. And today we have Dorothy Stoltz, who will be talking us through the 6 thinking hats. So thank you, Dorothy, so much for joining us today. Before I hand it over to Dorothy, we will do some announcements and just introductions. So if anyone else wants to introduce themselves, feel free to come off mute or to type in the chat and share any updates or just to say hi. Okay. Hey, Carly. Hey, Tara. Hey, Lindsay. Good to see everyone. Hey, everyone. Oh, hey, Lauren. Nice to see you. I have very brief announcements today. Just if anyone is going to PLA, which is in early April in Columbus, let me know. We'll try to arrange maybe like a business meetup. I'm presenting with our friend Audrey Barbakoff about the Libraries Build Business Communications Toolkit. That's on Wednesday of the PLA conference. So if you'll be there, come to our session and come say hi, hang out. It'd be nice to see people. So definitely let me know if you're planning to attend. And then I know Jim has an update about some videos and marketing we're going to pilot. So Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
My way to see this
Outstanding.
right in front of me right now.
All right. So first of all, hi for those of you who haven't met me. My name is Jim Takeshita. I'm a policy associate with the ALA's Public Policy and Advocacy Office, and currently with the help of Carly Feinberg and Julie Brophy, as well as Diane Lucy and Leslie Leonard, who couldn't make it today. I've been in the process of developing some videos, some short videos for social media that we're hoping to roll out as part of a larger campaign to take place during National Small Business Week in late April. The general idea is to shine a light on the work that libraries are doing to support small business, as well as to additional extent economic development efforts in their communities. So about, in short, spreading the good news that libraries are doing to support business, which is, of course, what this group is about. I wanted to share a couple of the pilot videos with you. And I wanted to start with Richland now. So,
Jim, we can't hear your audio.
Sorry, 1 second. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Is it not allowing?
So when you press share, that little, when you press share, it will give you the option. There's a checkbox that says to share sound. So you might have to like cancel this share and start again.
Understood. All right. Sorry about that. Let's try that one more time.
I'm Chris. I'm a career coach at Richland Library, and today I'm taking you through what a career coaching appointment is like. A career coaching appointment is tailored to the customer and can range from resume assistance to answering those tricky interview questions to navigating job search websites. So, my job as a career coach is to assist the customer with whatever they might need to stop just applying for jobs and start getting them. Today's appointment is looking for resume assistance. Before the meeting, customers will email the most recent version of their resume and the job description they're applying for. I will review their resume and scan the job description for keywords. Then it's appointment time. Keeping in mind a resume is not a history of employment, it is a marketing tool. I work with a customer to craft a relevant and visually appealing resume tailored for the job they are seeking. Be sure to learn more about our business and career services at richlandlibrary.com.
All right. And additional video, which we won't be showing the whole thing, is courtesy of Baltimore County Public Library and Carly Feinberg and Julie Brophy as well.
Hi, have you been thinking about starting a business? Or maybe you have a hobby that you've been considering monetizing. Did you know the library can help? Baltimore County Public Library offers a variety of resources that can help you feel more knowledgeable and confident as you develop your business idea, legitimize your side hustle, or grow your existing business. Stay tuned because we're about to tell you how.
The Baltimore County Public Library's flagship business program is the Entrepreneurship Academy. This is a free 7-week course taught by industry experts that takes a comprehensive look at all the steps involved in launching or growing a business. The classes cover topics such as business strategies, market research, taxes, business finance, marketing, and the business plan. If you have a business idea or a nonprofit idea but are unsure where to start, consider joining the next cohort.
Si usted habla...
Right. So I will be sharing the full video as both of these videos in the Slack after this meeting, and I can actually post a link to the Baltimore County Public Library's video as well. But the general idea is to think of these as concepts because I would like to see if anybody else in this group is interested in producing a short form social media video with their library's business services or career assistant services or things of that nature. Well, to basically in preparation for National Small Business Week. So in any case, I'll be making an additional announcement about this. And if you're interested in participating, please contact me.
Thanks, Jim. And thank you so much, Carly and Julie. That video turned out so great, and Richland Library as well. So like Jim said, think of those as inspiration. Your video doesn't have to be nearly as polished, but something maybe if you're thinking about if you would like to participate in a campaign to show off your business services for Small Business Week, let Jim know and he's happy to help put that together. So thank you. Thank you for those models and for sharing that. Anybody else before I turn it over to Dorothy? Okay, Dorothy, take it away. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Megan. And those videos were really wonderful. I worked for Carroll County Public Library in Maryland, and so I'm familiar with Baltimore County and their wonderful video production department and work they've done over many, many years. So bravo, Julie and Carly. I had retired from Carroll County 2 years ago as Director for Community Engagement, and I actually sought out business librarians to help me get my entrepreneurial adventures up and running, and they were so extraordinarily helpful in getting me established as a small business. And so I've been involved in supporting businesses as a librarian over many years, but then also being a recipient of library service. So it's been marvelous to see it in action and how helpful it's been. Now, I don't know your individual library situations, but I hope that today's session will help convey that the 6 thinking hats technique can be inspiring and practical as a tool for you to use in many different ways. And it's something that can be used individually to go through if you're challenged with something or trying to solve a problem or trying to get some new ideas, or if you want to do it with a group or a team or your staff or what have you. It's a very powerful thinking tool, I think, and I discovered it 30 years ago when I took a course on creativity, and I learned that the really creative expression is not only found in the traditional forms of art and music, but that the most important area of creativity is the skill of thinking. And many great thinkers, from the ancients to our modern geniuses like Edward de Bono, who created the 6 thinking hats, consider the mind to be a builder. So, thinking about great thinkers over many years, Plato, Pythagoras, to Shakespeare, Emily Dickinson, and so on, they really teach us through their work that a prerequisite for being our best is focusing at the mental level. So an example is Yogananda, who was a philosopher and great yoga teacher in the early 20th century, and he emphasized the importance of using the mind as a builder. Another example, and one of my favorites for a great thinker, is Nikola Tesla, the electrical engineer and innovator who was a discoverer of principles which continue to be explored today. And he focused on so many different things, from electricity, electric power, motors, radar, radio, wireless capability, robotics, and drones way before it became applicable. He visualized a new piece of equipment working in his mind. So he assembled, operated, and repaired equipment in his mind first before taking it to the lab. So he's working with his lab assistants, and he didn't have any blueprints or anything as a drawing or anything like that. He just told them step by step how to build a motor or create a new piece of equipment. And he got really wonderful results because he did all that pre-work, in his mind. So, and I thought about, we all do this to a certain extent. We say, oh, let's put it on the back burner for a while and then come back to it, or let me sleep on it and then see if I have any fresh ideas in the morning. So without consciously thinking about it, we're giving ourselves time to nurture an idea. The 6 thinking hats is a tool that helps evoke different thinking abilities one at a time. And it makes the thinking process simple yet very effective. It helps us nurture ideas and produce better results. So I don't use it for every project or every conversation or discussion, but I have found it to be refreshingly helpful on many occasions. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing a few slides here. And Edward de Bono died in 2021 at the age of 88. And he was born on the Mediterranean island of Malta, which was a British colony until the 1960s. He coined the term lateral thinking, which I think today we often refer to it as just thinking outside the box. He authored over 60 books, including the 6 Thinking Hats. He had degrees and faculty appointments at Oxford and Cambridge, England, as well as Harvard, and he taught thinking to CEOs, Nobel Prize laureates, and to children. He himself was a Nobel Prize nominee in economics. Now, Psychology Today said of de Bono, we owe de Bono a debt for constantly reminding us that thinking is a skill and can be improved. So why hats? Well, we always, there's that old saying, put on your thinking cap, put on your thinking hat. The hats and colors make it easy to talk about thinking processes and then to focus on one process at a time. So the hats are easy to put on and take off, enabling a quick switch in our thinking from one process to another. So here's how de Bono breaks this down. The white hat represents objective information and knowledge, and it asks, how are we going to get that knowledge? The red hat elicits feelings, intuition, mood. To be most effective with the red hat, it helps to keep our answer short without justification. The yellow hat is the sunny outlook, the logical positive. You can look for opportunities, benefits, and rewards wearing this hat. The black hat, which is often considered the most important hat, focusing on logical troubleshooting, it asks why a project might not work, what is the risk if we are successful, and what are the obstacles that need to be overcome. There was a CEO of a candy company who had taken the Six Thinking Hats course, and she commented that there was a project that had failed and that her team did not do good black hat thinking. They had developed a product, did a survey, marketing survey, got a lot of good feedback that the candy tasted great, and they launched it, but they hadn't anticipated there was an overwhelming demand that was beyond their production capability. She said, no one asked, what is the risk if we are successful? The green hat helps us find new creative ideas. It seeks to remove obstacles and reduce risks that we identify in black hat thinking. The blue hat is a control hat to manage the thinking process. It gives an overview and summary. And I've added an orange hat that helps uplift our thinking. It draws on the capacity of creative intelligence to organize ideas and projects. So each of us have all of these thinking capabilities. This technique really nurtures and draws out those qualities in each of us. So we're going to use this challenge. How can I find the right balance between too many projects and not enough time? And I'll give you a sequence, a very specific sequence of using the hats. It'll be timed. I'll prompt you to go from one hat to the next. And we'll have a total of 10 minutes of thinking time. And we're going to use a Mentimeter. So if Megan, if you could put that in the chat, the link to the Mentimeter, and I'll go ahead and open this up. And if you're fussing with the Mentimeter and it's not quite working, just put your answers in the chat. That would work super well. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so we're going to share the Mentimeter. And is that coming up for you? Okay, great. So let's start with the white hat. What knowledge do I need and how do I get it to find the right balance between too many projects and not enough time? And if you could just put your answers either in the Mentimeter or on the chat. And we have a minute for that. Great. We'll get into character. There we go. Excellent. That's great. One of the ones that I would add is for myself, it can help me to find in general, when is my best energy time? You know, whether it's during the week or is it always in the morning or what have you. So that's something that helps me. Anything else for the white hat here? Strategic direction, very good. Yeah. Expected amount of time with each priority. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to take off the white hat and go on to the yellow hat. What are all the possible advantages in solving this challenge? And we have 1.5 minutes to list all the possible advantages. Excellent. More time to focus on the most important items. Everybody's happy with the outcomes. Yeah, organized thoughts, focus on each project individually. Better sense of the objectives. Excellent. Yeah, meeting deadlines, more focused, less being scattered. Spend more time on the highest paid payoff items and not, we've always done it this way. Happy stakeholders, calm staff, yes. Anything else for the white hat? I'm sorry, the yellow hat. Okay. Now, we'll take off the yellow hat and go to the black hats. What are the risks if I solve this challenge? Leadership might add more projects. That's excellent. Maybe assign more work. Increase workload. Not being seen as busy. Yeah. More work. That's right. I will miss something important to someone else. That's a good thought. Disappointing others vested in a project. The increase in reporting if you're more successful in having grant projects. Yes, indeed. Very good. Could be making some wrong assumptions. So it's sort of like needing to reassess. Solving this challenge might draw attention to a bigger challenge. It's great. Anything else for the black hat? Okay, we'll go on to the green hat. What new approaches and ideas can we generate to reduce risks or overcome obstacles? Ask forgiveness, not permission. Turn a project into a series of programming events. Separate out the layers of the project. I refer to that as like chunking it down. Yeah, ask the customers what they want and need. Check-ins, make sure everyone's on the same page. Making sure projects are being assessed. Excellent. Yeah, working with your supervisor. Excellent. Anything else for the green hat? Okay. Sorry. There we go. Oh, use gamification to make it more fun. It's great. Oh, super. Okay, we're going to go on and move to the blue hat. How should we think about this challenge? And a part 2 question is there anything we need to learn first before meeting this challenge? How to prioritize. I'll say no to stupid stuff. Think of the challenge as an opportunity. Think both from a big point of view and a small point of view about a project. What are the resources needed for the project? How to ask for help when you need it. Excellent. Okay. The next one, I'll give you a few more minutes here, or a little bit more time. We should think about outcomes and also consider that it may not be a problem, that it can be solved without additional resources. It's interesting. Okay. So our next hat is the red hat. What inspires me to solve this challenge? Mhm. Mhm. Positive impact on the community, love of books, business, and community, prospect of following our community, better workflow, enjoying work, feeling successful. Excellent. Person getting a job, starting their own business. Story, very good. Okay, now our better work productivity, which can help the community more. Excellent. All right, our last hat is the orange hat. How can I draw on creative intelligence to organize priorities and find the right balance? We didn't have any orange hats around the house, so only oranges. So without a hat for this one. Love it. Include music. Yeah. Charts, graphs, always very helpful. Draw it out. Visual boards, vision boards. Project management tool. Creative language use, excellent. Turn on investment. Whether we're using computers or crayons, that's great. Okay. All right, thank you very much. And I'm going to stop sharing that. And just want to ask, how did the process go for you? Not so much in specific answers, but of each hat, but just the process and how that might compare to some of the discussions or other kinds of conversations around solving challenges. Was this different? Have you used other things similar? And you could open a mic or just put something in chat. I like the reflection that it prompted. Okay, thank you.
Dorothy. I don't know whether I don't know whether I could say that I've done something similar. I don't recall. But when the problem is how to balance multiple things, multiple projects, multiple things. Well, first of all, I feel seen. Thank you. But but it does I agree with Carly. It did make me reflect a little bit on the tools I don't use and the way I don't think about it more than what I've done in the past. It kind of opened up an idea of how I might better think through prioritizing and balancing a little better, because I think that's a big challenge for so many of us when we wear so many different hats.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I know that in that creativity class I had taken, one of the things that popped up around prioritizing was, and there's so many tools and philosophy out there, but this was look at each day and look at your top, say, 6 or 7 priorities for the day that would help move the week forward, but to keep in mind a top 2 or 3 overall priorities. So for my department, we had 3 top priorities, and I was always gauging that day's priorities or week's priorities with, does it match my very top priorities? So that helped me juggle a little better. Anybody else in terms of how the 6 Thinking Hats process was for you?
It reminds me a little of design thinking in a way, and going through that process, especially when you add the orange hat and you want to think of more creative, intelligent ways with like drawing and music and other ways you can express yourself than just paper and pen. And I think it reminds me of, there's this book that I'm trying to find that's like the 10 Faces of Innovators or something like that. And it reminds me of that a little too.
That's great. Yeah. And Bono created the 6 Hats. The book came out in 1985. It just seemed like an additional hat around the creative intelligence seems helpful with this. And I don't think he would mind that I added a 7th hat. So I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, okay. Anything else for just the use of the 6 hats? Okay. Well, I wanted to just talk a little bit about sort of seeing a need for libraries to have a creative wake-up call to focus on what we do best. And one of the things I think we do best is share and promote sort of the ideas around, the concepts around being compassionate, curious, perseverance, being helpful, patient, etc. And these are, Plato called them universal or big ideas, but it's something that if we can nurture our growth and in turn, then nurture those that we're working with in our communities. So these qualities are sometimes they're considered like soft skills or, that they're intangibles, but they really are something that we can nurture and grow with and learn about to be more effective in the work we do with colleagues and in the community. And I think that a library, there's a lot of talk about it not being, or that, are we threatened? Are we going to be replaced? And there may be some entities like a publisher or an online bookseller that may be able to offer books for sale or even loan them out, but it can't replace that advancement of these types of concepts and ideas. And new and emerging technology and AI as well cannot replace the advancement of these types of ideas. Libraries are really poised, I think, to do it. So it's up to each library to set in motion its ability to inspire open-mindedness and to encourage how to contemplate and implement these kinds of concepts. And with an open mind, the possibilities are unlimited. In this way, a library can help businesses and entrepreneurs and students grow and learn and flourish. And in turn, they then will hopefully and more likely support the library and vote for the library. By promoting big ideas, libraries nourish an ability to advance our understanding of science and business and technology and cultural arts, as well as compassion, goodwill, and wisdom, and thus our ability to thrive and advance that. So I'm going to go ahead and share just a couple more slides here to kind of finish this off. And a return on investment in the six hats, companies have said that it reduces meeting times. You saw that we only had basically 10 minutes of think time, and we got through a heck of a lot. They make meetings more productive. It produces a better return on our training dollar, and it can promote an inclusive approach to thinking and team discussions. The Six Hats has been endorsed in a book that was put out by McGraw-Hill in 2021 called The Business of Race, and several pages are dedicated to the six thinking hats. And I had taken an online course on the six hats with that. It happened that the two authors of this book were in that course. And so they were at that point in the midst of learning and getting excited about the six hats and incorporating it into their work. And then they ended up including it in their book. So whether it's companies or nonprofits, you can save money, make better decisions and quicker decisions as well. Some of the key benefits include it creates better decisions in less time because it strengthens team and issue alignment. It helps reduce the I'm right, you're wrong mindset, and it builds better working relationships, a team spirit, and a healthy morale. It can bring out a sense of fun and lightness to discussion energy as well. So right now, I'm going to show just a short clip of Edward de Bono, and he's explaining here how to separate out what he calls separate out ego from performance. And you might have to turn your volume up a little bit for this.
Because very often in thinking, the ego is much too dominant. And what the hat system does, it allows us to separate ego from performance. If, for example, someone is against an idea, normally speaking, that person would be very reluctant to find anything in favor of that idea. But with the hat system, you say, well, fine, we've had our black hat thinking, and that's fine. Now let's try some yellow hat thinking. And that person either has to say, I can't do it, or I don't want to do it. And that's a very difficult position. So very often that person says, well, if I put on my yellow hat, I could see this and this and this and this. And sometimes that person convinces himself or herself. Says, well, I hadn't looked at it that way before, I hadn't thought of that. So now you're allowing the mind to perform much more broadly than when it's just locked up by the ego. So it's a way of separating that out.
Okay, great. And so our call to action is to determine the role of thinking in the library and how it can help the community. Can you imagine doing the six hats either with your colleagues, with your clients, as a library program? I've used this for many years, and these are some challenge statements. And it's one of the things that is important in using this is to take just even a few minutes to think about how to create a challenge statement that will work with the 6 hats. And I'm sure you've done this a lot with other tools. But here are some of the ones that I've used over the years. How can we increase the library's ability to develop innovative and creative thinkers, to promote entrepreneurship? How can we reach more small businesses and entrepreneurs? How can we collaborate with local businesses to serve homeless people respectfully, plus make downtown a safe and welcoming environment? And, how can we enhance our advocacy for what libraries do in serving businesses? Now, as a manager, I've used it this way. How can I improve morale in my department? How can I be the best manager I can be? As an individual, I've used it for how to balance too many projects, not enough time. How can I gain confidence and help colleagues gain confidence to better serve challenging library visitors? So just a few examples of putting the hats into action. And public-facing programs for all ages. We've used it. Now, there are many ways that you can have a discussion for a book like Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And our challenge statement was, how can I bring out the best skills for applying patience, respect, goodwill, etc., in myself and others to promote unity? I've used it for programs for children and for teenagers. Thinking ought to be fun. And working with the 6 hats, one of the challenge statements I used was, how can you get along with others after they annoy you? And the kids really seem to enjoy a conversation around this. And they'll say things like, well, let's ask the person if something is wrong, or give the person some space and just, get back to it later, or next time you get together, start fresh. And it ends up having opportunities for discussion around friendship and what are the good qualities that you can find in people and things like that. So here's the summary. And Megan, if you could put the link into the chat. This is a great handout that I hope you'll find to be helpful. And we have the link here to some what Bono calls thinking lessons that can be used with students and adults. Some of his books. And there are some ALA books that have creative thinking concepts in them, and a book through Waldo Publishers on peer learning, which include creative thinking concepts. And then here's my contact information. And then, Megan, if we could also put in there the Bono group. Yeah, you got it. Okay, great. We're all good then. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to learn a little bit about creative thinking and Bono's 6 thinking hats. And if you have any questions, please ask or follow up with an email or what have you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. Yeah, I think we have some time for questions or discussion now as people want. I know from the chat that people were really enthusiastic about your hats. You looked great in them. Anybody thinking about how they can apply this to their work with business services?
I think I might be able to give you an example of what I was thinking of. Like in the fall, we have a local flea market in Youngstown where they have a whole bunch of vendors come. And so I was trying to figure out a way to reach out to them. And their website actually listed all the vendors' names. And so I put in like a sheet with 100 marketing ideas for any business. And then I put in an example business plan, and I gave them my contact information and just put it in an envelope And then I went down and gave them that because I wanted to kind of spur a thought process of what's the next step after a flea market? Like, how can I expand my business? What else could I do? And it was kind of like, I kind of used that thinking, like, how am I going to reach them with this different ways, like to get their ideas, to get in the library to actually use us. So, and it was successful. They actually posted it on social media afterwards, thanking me for stopping by, you know, and I just threw envelopes at them and said, hey, when you have time, I know you're busy now, look at this, you know.
Thanks for sharing, Stuart. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful. This really can be an advocacy tool for sure.
Dorothy, in all your time of using this, has using the hats ever turned into a, pardon my French, quote unquote, bitch session? Or is it really more creative than that? Because there's part of me that would really love to pitch this to my administration to do for staff training day, because we have some concerns in the library, but I could see it turning into that very easily. And I think that they would have some concerns over that. So I'd like to be able to tell them that reassure them.
Yeah. What's interesting with the 6 hats, if they're used in this way, where it's timed, so each thinking focus is limited. You control if somebody is using any one of the hats, but let's say with the red hat, they're going into describing their feeling that this isn't going to work. Well, you pull them back to say, we've had our red hat thinking. Now it's time to go on. Let's do some yellow hat thinking. What is an advantage if we're able to do this project? What would benefit the library here? What opportunity might we have? So let's put on our yellow hat and see what we can come up with. I've had experiences, where people want to keep jumping back to a negative mode. And the hats are very helpful in saying, you listen, okay. And then let's go ahead and put on our green hat. What new idea could we get here to move forward in a different way? And you don't have to do this in a formal way where you're putting on the hats or even saying, let's put on the green hat thinking for some new and fresh ideas. You can just do it in a conversation where you're not introducing the hats, but you use this technique and say, okay, I hear what you're saying here. What new approach here? Or how about if we do a quick check around the room? How is everybody feeling right now? No justification on your feelings, just, one word or a short phrase. I'm excited, I'm bored, whatever. So I have never used it where it hasn't worked. Not that it hasn't been challenging to pull people from using, one mode and bringing them back to another, especially if they're going into the repetition of the negative. But using this, I've been able to pull them back.
Thank you for that.
Sure. And and I find it just even for myself, just sitting down with, okay, I'm not quite sure how to move forward with something. So I'm just going to take a few minutes here and go through each of these thinking aspects and ask myself these kinds of questions. Just jot down a few notes. And then I come out with kind of a summary of the problem or challenge and a couple of next steps. what I love about it and what's so helpful is that it works best in these short chunks. Now, it's not to say that you wouldn't have longer periods, but I've never used it for more than 20 minutes, with a group. So it's sort of I see it as a magical tool to bring out on special occasions.
Anybody else thinking about how they can use this and apply this to their work? Right. Well, thank you so much, Dorothy. This was really great. Thank you for the interactive session and teaching us about the 6 thinking hats, the 7 thinking hats. Thanks everyone for being here. Hope to see you again in March. As Rachel said at the beginning, she will be talking to us about what's going on in Erie. So come back for that. I dropped our exit ticket in the chat, so that's just a couple of questions to get feedback on the session and any ideas you might have for future sessions. So definitely fill that out for me. And we will send out the link as well as post this recording on our YouTube page, so you can watch that later as well. I'll keep the line open if anybody has questions or wants to chat, but otherwise, thanks so much and hope to see you soon.